Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on three. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Welcome to Ask Margaret from What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. Solving your parenting dilemmas one question at a time. Today's question comes from Angela, who says, how do you build self-esteem in your children, particularly tweens and teens? We try to be loving to all of our children and reinforce their strengths and work efforts, but we have one child that acts out frequently for attention, and it seems related to how she feels about herself. So kind of two different issues here. Child acting out for attention and the issue of self-esteem. So I want to say up front that self-esteem is one of these things that sometimes I think we feel that we have a box full of it and we can take out of that box and hand it to our children. And I would urge you to watch that model. Self-esteem is something that comes internally from your child. And I think sometimes efforts to hand it to your child are misguided. I'm going to quote from biglifejournal.com, and they have a handy little kind of guide about where self-esteem comes from. And one of the ways we can encourage self-esteem in our children is through praise, but we have to watch praise because we want to be praising them for effort. So you did a great job with that. I liked the way you handled that. You want to be praising them for strategies. You really figured your way through that dilemma with your friends, and I was really proud to see how you did that. Wow. You didn't do a great job on that. I know you're feeling bad about yourself, but I can see that you learned from that and that going forward, you're going to make different choices. So it can be tempting to just kind of puff up our kids and you're the best. Don't let anyone tell you differently. But if you can try to get underneath that, I think you're going to have more success. Healthychildren.com explains this really well by saying, we want to encourage our children's talents and interests because self-esteem, again, it comes from doing well at things. It's not something that you can just find and grab. So, for example, if you have a kid who's struggling with self-esteem, where do their talents lie? Maybe they are a good singer, but if your praise is you're an amazing singer, you're great, you're not giving them as much as if you can help them uncover that talent and say hey, let me hear you run those scales. Let's practice this. Let's get better at this skill. Maybe it's soccer. Let's run some drills. I'll take you to extra practice. Whatever it may be, as they get better at something, their self-esteem naturally improves rather than you thinking you can praise their way to self-esteem. I think there's a separate issue here about attention. And I think you're right that when kids feel negatively about themselves, it can cause them to act out. And again, here we are at what kind of attention are we paying them? We talked a lot about this in the middle child episode. You can Google What Fresh Hell podcast middle children. And my husband and I have sometimes with our middle child had the experience of oh yeah, he is kind of getting lost in the shuffle as middle children do. And it's causing him to act out because he doesn't feel that seen. So we will occasionally have a conversation and practically mark it on our calendar. This week, we're going to pay more attention to that child. But that attention is not just, oh my God, you're so great. Did we ever tell you how awesome you are? That attention is, hey, let's work a puzzle together. Oh, look at you figuring that out. Wow, you found that piece. And praising those efforts as opposed to just kind of lavishing him with praise for no particular reason. And I think this is a complicated issue, and self-esteem, it's a set point that some kids are born with. Some kids really struggle with this, and that is not something that you're necessarily doing. Some kids just struggle with their identity more than other kids for a host of different reasons. So don't put this all on your back. Like, your child's self-esteem has to come from them overcoming and accomplishing things. It cannot come from you just saying, this is a gift I'm going to give you. And also, it waxes and wanes. Sometimes kids have really confident phases. I know for myself, I was a pretty confident kid, and then in middle school, I had a lot of social difficulties, and I suddenly became a really non-confident kid. And I have found and lost my own self-esteem through my life. So don't overestimate the amount of control you have over this, but work these programs of praising effort, praising overcoming mistakes, pointing out things that they've survived before and that they will survive again, and encourage them in areas where they have strengths, because we know all of our kids have strengths in certain areas. Talk to them about areas where they have weakness and how those weaknesses may be inherent to them and are not something to hold on to, that like all people have strengths and weaknesses. Some people appear to have only strengths. Not true. Everybody is struggling with these kinds of things. And I think giving voice to it, asking yourself Amy's great question, is this kid giving me a hard time, or are they having a hard time? If they're having a hard time, talk it through with them. Be that safe space where they can feel really loved and really accepted, but then help them work towards goals that are going to increase their own self-esteem. This is something that your child controls, unfortunately, not something that you control. Never my favorite thing. Angela, I hope that helps. We could do a whole episode on this complicated topic, but there is stuff that you can take control of here. If you have a question for myself or Amy, you can send it to questions@whatfreshhellpodcast.com, and you may hear your question answered on an upcoming episode. Thanks for listening.
This is a Monday.com ad. The same Monday.com helping people worldwide getting work done faster and better. The same Monday.com designed for every team and every industry. The same Monday.com with built-in AI, scaling your work from day one. The same Monday.com that your team will actually love using. The same Monday.com with an easy and intuitive setup. Go to Monday.com and try it for free. Yes, the same Monday.com.